on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, ABC 7 political reporter emeritus Charles Thomas.
Still here.
You go to that NASCAR race, that NASCAR street race coming up this week?
I'm not going. No, I saw it on TV.
Wow.
I was in another city actually, and I thought it looked really cool. You know, the race cars going around the city.
Yeah, it looks
the visual.
Yeah, it looks fun to see, but I don't know that I want to be around that many Chicagoans.
Oh no.
No. Yeah.
No. On the 4th of July weekend, no.
I never really got into NASCAR either, I got to tell you.
Really?
Not much of a
I'm not either, but
NASCAR.
I thought that looked pretty cool when I
Yeah,
saw the lake
yeah.
and the high rises and everything. I said, man, I never thought about that.
it's cool. I mean, I like, Formula One is cool too, but I don't know. It's just not a thing for me. But we got a NASCAR veteran who's running for Congress that we're going to talk to in a second, Jerrod Sessler. And it's a primary. Well, at least the first election is a primary in Washington State. He's running against Dan Newhouse, who is a impeachment vote on Trump. So that should be pretty chippy. I'm sure it already is. This was Joe Biden releasing a new spot post-debate as he tries to recover from that performance. Take a listen.
Did you see Trump last night? I mean it sincerely. The most lies told in a single debate. He lied about the great economy he created. He lied about the pandemic he botched. And then, his biggest lie, he lied about how he had nothing to do with the insurrection of January 6th. We all saw with our own eyes.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
We saw police being attacked, the Capitol being ransacked. He did not a single thing to stop it, nothing. Folks, I know I'm not a young man, but I know how to do this job. I know right from wrong. I know how to tell the truth. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Yeah, baby.
And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up. I get knocked down.
He's such a rock star, Charles.
But come on. That was a Saturday Night Live soundtrack.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
But are you serious?
boy, the enthusiasm for the Biden campaign. Pay no attention to the 3/4 of Americans who don't think he has the mental acuity for the job and don't want him to run. Sure, okay. I mean, this was one of the great snow jobs of all time if they can pull it off.
If they can pull that one off, man, I got to give up. I got to give up the funk. If they can pull that off.
All right. Well, let's see what's happening out there in the Pacific Northwest. Jerrod Sessler is the Trump-endorsed candidate in Wisconsin 4. He's a former NASCAR driver, as I mentioned. He's running against Dan Newhouse, who is a Trump impeachment vote. What's the lay of the land in Wisconsin 4? Jerrod Sessler, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Nice to be here. Washington 4 is quite a mess right now. I was leading Dan Newhouse about 17 to 19 points going into filing week, and he had to recruit some help to try to split the vote. And so he recruited a past candidate from Senate last cycle, Tiffany Smiley, who has millions of dollars worth of debt that she's trying to pay off from her Senate race. And so she's in the race now as of filing week, trying to help Dan Newhouse split the vote and help herself pay off her debt. But we're still going to win. It's looking really good. And I'll just add that the only thing bigger than what the Democrats think they're trying to do now is the greatest heist on American history, which was the 2020 election. And nobody has been more of a disgrace to American history than Joe Obama in this last 3.5 years.
How does Newhouse explain himself in the context here of everything that has transpired and is transpiring? Has he walked back anything he's done, his views on Trump, the vote that he took, or is he just sort of pretending it didn't happen and trying to pile on Biden to pretend that he's with the grassroots?
Yeah, it's pretty surprising because he really, you know how accepting people are. He really could have walked this back and probably gained a lot of traction with the voters, but he just hasn't. And I don't think that's the way he feels. He refuses to say President Trump's name. He will not, he continues to stand on this platform of, I'm just voting with my conscience and this is what I believe. And, all this hogwash that, any even remotely sane person can look at what happened over the last few years to President Trump and know that, at least 110% of it was just pure lies. And he just continues to stand on that. He's kind of a wet suit. I mean, he just doesn't really express himself well. He doesn't present well. I'm struggling to get my arms around how he ever got elected. I've been on the debate stage with him and just demolished him. And he doesn't defend himself. I don't understand how he got elected, or and this is my perspective. Like, this is not my world. I want to do this because I think this is what the American people need. This is what we need. We need strong, bold leadership. But how can you be so milquetoast in the face of the biggest threats that we've ever faced in our lives, from a political standpoint, from a social economical standpoint? I mean, this guy has got to go.
It would seem to me that even though he's trying to split up the vote, it would seem to me that you would be in a pretty good position as the Trump endorsed candidate to have the biggest base of the three candidates, right?
For sure, yeah. This district will take about 74 to 75% of the Republican vote, so it's one of the most conservative districts on the West Coast. And I just need to get something north of 25% in the primary in order to make it into the general, because Washington is one of those weird jungle states where it doesn't matter what. Yeah, so most likely it will be me and Dan Newhouse in the general election. But I want to have a really strong primary so that people look at those results and say, okay, yeah, this guy's got the stones to win in the general, knowing that Dan Newhouse will probably get help from the Democrats in the general. But yeah, I'm
sorry to interrupt, but this is key too. I mean, we're talking about the slim majority in the House. We've spent most of this year talking about that and how complicated it is. And part of that is because you have soft Republicans in conservative districts rather than a real hard charger, which you should have in a safe Republican district. And this is a good example. We have the same problem, or did, when we had Republicans here in Illinois. You have placeholders where you need killers, and it sounds like maybe that'll change in Wisconsin 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Washington 4. I love Wisconsin, but I'm in Washington.
Oh, Washington 4. Sorry, I just misspoke.
But yeah, you're right, and most people don't think about that. They look at AOC, they look at near you in Minnesota. Ilhan Omar's got a packed district of Somalians. You look at Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff, and these people that are from these deep blue districts, and we don't complain about that. I mean, we do, we should, but then we look at these deep red districts, and we don't have somebody who's truly passionate, who really wants to be, sort of a Matt Gaetz, Thomas Massey, Bob Good, Scott Perry, really strong Jim Jordan kind of a candidate. And we should have somebody like that. We can't waste this bullet on somebody who's milquetoast.
What got you into the race? Is it the last everything that's transpired the last 8 years, or what was the motivation to enter this world, as you say, from the outside?
Veteran, then I'm double engineering major, and then started my own company almost 30 years ago, and was just kind of working in business. Had really no interest in politics until 2012, when Obama was reelected, and it was the first time I was politically numb, where I thought, oh my goodness, we're going to put up with another 4 years of this guy. And that was really the deciding point for me when I stood up and looked around. I was like, I want to run for Congress. And that was 10 years ago, but just I mean, be honest, Dan, I just didn't know enough about our civic process.
Uh-huh.
And so I started taking the Hillsdale College classes and started following Dennis Prager and Victor David Hansen and Larry Arnn and, all these really smart people who I respect. Epic Times is doing an amazing job, and I just started learning about how our system works, read a book called The Original Intent by David Barton and is really studying. I've been to D.C. like 40 times in the last 20 years and, for business and what I call citizen lobbyists and stuff like that. But that's kind of where it all started for me. And then I was in D.C. on January 6th. I saw the whole setup. I saw what went down. It's totally not what everybody's seen on TV and what's been reported through this sham J6 commission. And, I saw my congressman vote to impeach, the greatest president of our lives. And I just was like, yeah, this is not happening. It's time to run here. So I got in the race last cycle. There were 7 candidates. Dan Newhouse was able to eke out another term with only 25% of the vote. And this time there's only 3 candidates. And really it should just be Dan and I if he wasn't recruiting help. But I feel really good about it. President Trump's been incredibly gracious. He's a great man. Obviously his help, I think, is what's going to get me over the line. But we've got House Freedom Caucus. I've got about a dozen congressmen who are seatmates to Dan Newhouse who've endorsed me. Kash Patel, who is an absolute bulldog for corruption and wants to hold people accountable. General Flynn. So I've got the support and the relationships, not just to win this race, but to be effective in Congress.
The website, Jerrod for Congress, JERROD for Congress.com, if you want to support Jerrod's efforts out there in Washington State. Before we let you go, I mean, make the pitch for NASCAR for us. Charles and I, not big NASCAR guys, but it's in town, so, make the pitch. Yeah,
I'll just tell you that road course, though, any type of course like that is just scary as what to drive. You cannot see. You kind of know the course in your mind. That's the way drivers think. They know where their marks are. But the problem is they don't know what's happening because you can't see the course, and it's just incredibly scary. And it's a very dangerous race. So I'm not a fan for encouraging people to, assemble in mass in Chicago. There's way too much likelihood you're going to get shot. But, the race is a fun race. I think you can probably have as much fun on TV with some friends. But it is pretty amazing to hear the roar of the engines and the power of it. I've never been a tremendous fan of watching racing other than my boys who have grown up to be great racers. But I do love, I love the power. I love the exhilaration of, being behind the seat with a steering wheel in your hand.
I mean, I get that sort of, threat of danger and excitement every time I drive the Dan Ryan to go play golf at Olympia Fields, Charles. I don't know that I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a 6 or an 8 handicap. What is it?
Yeah, I would actually have to give Joe Biden apparently 3 to 5 strokes. I'm a 3 index, but yeah, no, I know he's a good player. I heard all about it. Jerrod Sessler, the Trump endorsed candidate for Congress in Washington 4. Again, Jerrod, JERROD for Congress.com to support Jerrod Sessler's campaign. Primaries August 6th?
Yeah, ballots are out in about 2 weeks, and Washington State invented this whole mail-in voting thing. So, we've got 3 weeks to return the ballots. But yeah, any support anybody can send, I really appreciate it. It's a tribute to President Trump and to what we need to do here in America over this next few years to kind of restore this thing to some sanity again.
Why don't you send us some of those mail-in ballots, man? We can.
Yeah, sure. We'll roundtable them here. That's how it works in Cook County, as you know. The kidding, of course, for the federal prosecutors listening. This is the one example of election fraud they would prosecute. Jerrod Sessler, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck on August 6th. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys.